There was one question that came in through the chat that I would turn to Melanie and you because we were all part of a discussion earlier, a couple of weeks ago on the global regulatory space, and somebody had asked here, could you share more background information on why regulators don't like platform? It's a loaded question. Melanie, do you want to just tackle or just add some clarity around where this conversation kind of went, right, and what was shared around this difference in terminology, which is really what it is.
So we were very lucky to have a room full of international regulators, including Peter Marks, people from EMA, MHRA, Australia. So it was really, really wonderful to have them there. And they all agreed universally that they don't like the word platform. And because they think that that's not an accurate description of what they're thinking of when they think of the word platform, and it's in fact prior knowledge. So when they gave the example that it's not manufacturing specific, as many of us in the audience were hoping that they'd say, it's really about like therapeutically a platform. So if you have a Cas9 system, that's your platform, and you can build knowledge based on your understanding of all elements of your drug development to enable you to go faster the next product you have. So for them, platform means very product specific, and you can leverage learnings from the past to enable you going forward. But it wasn't what some people were thinking from the manufacturing perspective.
Yeah, there's a very commercial element, right, to platform that I think the other regulators were less comfortable with. Right, in terms of that. Did you have other comments as well? I know you were part of this discussion. Were there any takeaways you had in terms of how regulators are approaching the concept of shared knowledge or the platform? Any surprises, any comments on what Melanie took away from it as well?
So I agree with Melanie said, but another thing is that not just across different, applications, even within the vaccines, same applications, and because of the manufacturer and the method are not standardized yet, so that's why the concern is that, you cannot, among those different manufacturers, you cannot use another manufacturer's experience and leverage as a platform for your use. So I think that's a big takeaway from my side as well. And you can see last year, when the COVID-19 strain update was announced, there was a leverage the platform, from the previous one. So, but this year, and it start to use prior knowledge as well. So we can see the alignment among those regulators already. So
it's starting. That's awesome.
And I will say, unfortunately, none of us in the room, asked the follow-up question about the advanced manufacturing therapy platform guidance that recently came out, which was kind of like the next logical question. But so when you look at that guidance, you see, manufacturing can be platformed, right? And there's, a mechanism for you to get agency feedback on that. I happen through the fact that we have a grant with the FDA to work on continuous manufacturing, I have access to people in CBER, and I asked that very question, like how is industry supposed to leverage this guidance? And they're like, well, it's not finalized yet, so we're still working through all of that, and we're still trying to figure that out ourselves. And what one thing that was a takeaway is like it can't just be you're running IVTs and that's your platform. That has to be novel. Right. It has to be something novel that you're doing on this platform. And so our takeaway in that particular meeting was, hey, it's not finished. We don't know. And it needs to be novel. So like, you can't just use that guidance as like, anyone who's running IVTs can have a platform of IVTs. That wasn't what they said the intention was.
So there are multiple opportunities, right, that we can engage the regulators in terms of how we platform or share prior knowledge, but there are nuances to each of these, right? And I think Peter Marks said it, I think it was a year ago now, so they may have more clarity, but I loved his phrase, we'll know it when we see it. Right?
Yes.
It's not necessarily a helpful way to move forward, but it's kind of a we'll know it when we see it situation, right? So put your best foot forward, right? I guess if we had to put some best practices to that.